To most of the galaxy, humanity was a myth that had overstayed its welcome. The chronicles of the Orathi Confederacy called Earth a burnt ember, a world whose people had fought too many wars, consumed too many resources, and vanished into silence. The Gyrish archives contained no human transmissions for 600 cycles. The Gaul Dominion considered Terrans a curiosity, fossil records in their great libraries, a reminder of primitive warlike things best left to dust. And in time, even fear turned to derision. When species spoke of Terran fleets, they did so with laughter, mocking the crude hulls and blunt weaponry of a long-extinct predator race. Humanity had been fierce, yes, but short-lived. No one survives the silence of centuries. The galaxy moved on. Or so they believed. Ghost whispers among the stars. It began as background noise. Explorers of the Zelthan Combine charted a forgotten system near the Veil Nebula, its star faint and cloaked in dust. Their instruments caught anomalies, rhythmic pulses, metal structures adrift in stable orbit, faint but persistent. They dismissed it as scrap. "Ruins," one officer said, glancing at degraded scans of fractured rings around a dead moon. But the signals grew. Transmission bands, once obsolete, flared into brief order. The structures aligned themselves against stellar drift. Decay should have torn them apart long ago, yet they remained. The Combine sent word across channels. Curiosity grew. Fleets arrived. Orathi scholars, Dominion warships, Gyrish archivists, all eager to witness a graveyard of Terran relics. The galaxy gathered to gawk at the bones of Earth. The graveyard's unease. From orbit, the site was vast, thousands of hulls suspended in eerie precision. Not drifting, not colliding, simply waiting. Blackened by time, scarred by impacts, but unmistakably ships. The watching fleets joked openly. The relics looked fragile, angular things, coated in dust. To modern sensors, their reactors read cold. To modern tacticians, their designs were laughably archaic. Still, the silence was too exact. Scouts reported faint magnetic fields, as if the vessels retained power. Archivists whispered that Terrans were known for redundancies, machines built to sleep for centuries. When a single pulse thundered across the system, a low-frequency signal older than any empire, the laughter died. It was a heartbeat. Engines of the forgotten. Then it began. The first hull, a colossal dreadnought scarred with meteors, ignited. Engines long frozen roared with a white-blue blaze, scattering dust into radiant halos. Across the graveyard, one after another followed, hundreds, then thousands, lighting up the dark like an awakening storm. Their formation shifted. Derelict hulks snapped into perfect alignment. The codes they broadcast carried authority the galaxy had not heard in eons. Terran command frequencies, still valid, still unbroken. Observers panicked. Their vessels tried to jam the signals, but the human encryption ignored them, pushing commands across bands that modern fleets no longer even used. Every ruin responded as though centuries had been a single night. The graveyard was not dead. It was asleep. The day the stars shook. Modern fleets moved to contain the awakening. The Dominion ordered a tactical blockade. The Gyrish sought to record every detail for their archives. Some whispered retreat, but curiosity outweighed fear. Until the first maneuver. The Terran relics accelerated, not with the sluggish crawl expected of ancient hulls, but with precision burns so efficient they eclipsed even modern drives. Formations expanded and folded with seamless timing. Dominion warships engaged, confident in their superior numbers and technology. But their missiles never found purchase. Human point defense tore them from the void with mathematical grace. Their energy beams splashed harmlessly against armor layered with alloys long thought theoretical. Orathi vessels advanced and faltered. Terran rail batteries, primitive in theory, spoke in reality with kinetic fury that shattered shields like brittle glass. It was not a battle. It was a demonstration. The galaxy's most advanced fleets were toys before a predator reborn. Terror in perfect silence. What horrified the observers was not the firepower, but the discipline. These ships, left for 500,000 years, did not lumber forward like reactivated relics. They fought with choreography. Squadrons twisted, interlocked, covered one another's flanks. Every maneuver was purposeful, every vector rehearsed. No crew stood aboard them, yet they fought as if captains still breathed on the bridges. Automated systems, dormant intelligences, protocols carved into steel itself. Whatever ghosts commanded them, they remembered their duty. And through it all, silence. No broadcast, no boast, no declaration. Only the thunder of weapons and the low hum of ancient engines. To the galaxy, it felt like judgment. The breaking of certainty. Panic spread. Entire coalitions withdrew from the system, abandoning probes and stations. Dominion ships limped home, half destroyed and broken. Whispers grew faster than light. If this was what humans discarded, what they merely left behind, then what had they truly kept? The Gyrish archivists burned their own records, fearing the Terran codes hidden in their databases could awaken more. The Orathi Council issued decrees forbidding ships from approaching uncharted ruins without sanction. The Gaul Dominion fell into paranoia, fearing every drifting husk could be a sleeping enemy. For the first time in millennia, the galaxy spoke of humanity not as a memory, but as a shadow looming once more. The storm preserved. Those who remained in system witnessed the finale. The Terran armada, engines burning with pale fury, drew into tight formation around the dead moon. Then, as one, they stilled. Weapons powered down, drives dimmed to embers. But they did not collapse into silence. They held, awake, alert, a sentinel force watching the stars. They had not returned to conquer, not yet. They had awakened only to remind the galaxy the storm was not gone. And should the need arise, it would rise again. Aftermath, dread in every hall. Across the spiral arms, rumors became scripture. Traders spoke of ghost fleets haunting dust clouds. Pilgrims prayed to avoid Terran space. Politicians reshaped their strategies, not against rival empires, but against the silent question: if this was only one armory, what of the others? Because every empire knew, humanity never built just once. They duplicated, replicated, scattered arsenals like seeds across the void. The galaxy had seen one graveyard wake. There could be thousands. The whisper that would not die. And so a phrase spread, muttered in war rooms and shadowed bars alike. Humans don't build fleets, they preserve storms. Every admiral remembered the sight of relics burning brighter than modern vessels. Every archivist remembered the silence that broke with engines older than their civilizations. The galaxy shivered, not because humanity had returned, but because humanity had waited. What else lay hidden, sleeping in the dark? No one knew. But all agreed, the silence was no longer safe. Epilogue: the storm eternal. Out beyond the nebula, the Terran fleet watched. No crew, no words, just ships in eternal readiness. Their codes pulsed faintly across the void, a heartbeat no empire could silence. And in that heartbeat was a message, simple and chilling. The galaxy may forget us, But we do not forget the galaxy. The storm endures, and when called, it will rise. The comfort of history. The galaxy had long since consigned humanity to the dust of forgotten empires. Among the elder races, the narrative was uniform, consistent, and soothing. The Terrans had burned themselves out in their reckless fire. The old archives, brittle with time, spoke of humans as fierce, reckless innovators, dangerous, yes, but short-lived. They were sparks in a void that had quickly gone cold. For nearly 1,000 years, no human fleet had been seen. No Terran ambassadors had stepped into the halls of galactic diplomacy. No signals rose from Earth. The consensus hardened into doctrine. Humanity was gone. The Vathian historians wrote of them with academic detachment. The Kalor archivists spoke of their wars with condescension, and the Vral Consortium cited them as a cautionary tale. A species that had dared to challenge the stars and had been broken by them. Silence was proof the humans had become myth. And myths, as the galaxy told itself, never return. Echoes in the ruins. It began, as such things often do, with a whisper. The Zyran patrol flotilla swept through the edges of the Perseus Veil, charting forgotten corridors. Their scans brushed over what they assumed were derelicts, metal hulks orbiting a lightless star. The computer flagged them as anomalies, but the captains dismissed the readings. A graveyard, Commander Ress spat. Terran wrecks, no doubt. They scattered fleets everywhere before their extinction. The reports filtered upward, but with little urgency. Derelict Terran sites were not unusual. Whole sectors still carried their abandoned infrastructure, rusting silently in the void. And yet this graveyard was different. Power readings, so faint at first that they seemed to be artifacts of interference, began to rise. The Zyran sensors picked up whispers of magnetic fields, subtle alignments of hull plating. The derelicts were not still. Scholars argued it was residual power, some decaying reactor finally giving up its last. Others speculated it was scavenger trickery,